Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit like and subscribe. And I would love to know what you like to stitch because it's always so much fun to hear what other people are stitching or what their favorite kind of stitches are. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so enjoy the time that we have together where we talk cross stitch, and I just look forward to it each week. So thank you so much for sharing cross stitch with me. I really do appreciate it. And always, I'd love to know what you're working on if you are stitching while you're watching me. I love how some people always are doing chores or cooking or something or other, which is always kind of neat too. You're very good because I'd get distracted. So I'm always so impressed when somebody says they're doing something besides stitching and watching Flosstube. Before I show you my projects, I have a finish. I do have a full finish, and then I have 2 starts. So I'm resigned myself that at least through October, probably skating into November, there'll be lots and lots of starts because there's lots of different things that I'm interested in working on and starting. So we're just gonna kind of roll with it. So, but before I do talk about that, I do want to let you know I do have a Flosstube extra that I filmed earlier this week and put out earlier this week. It was an unboxing, which was my very first unboxing. I received a box from Floss and Flame, the Halloween mystery box. So if you would like to see that, just it'll be the video right before this one. Yeah, that was my very first unboxing. It was the first box that Floss and Flame has done, and so all these firsts, so much fun. And thank you for those who did watch and your wonderful comments. Secondly, the artist trading card deadline. Today is the soft deadline on the 10th of October. The 15th is my hard deadline. So if you could please get things shipped by then, that would be fantastic. If you think it'll be like the 15th or so, but you are planning on doing it, if you want to shoot me just a quick note, that way I know to look out for it. I'm so looking forward to sharing. There's some great ones that have come in. It's so exciting to always see your wonderful creativity. And if you're sitting here saying, I don't know what an artist trading card is, I have an entire playlist that talks about these little tiny trading cards that we make, create, and then trade with each other. And I do swaps a few times a year. So you're always welcome to join in the swap. What's nice about it too is until you send it in, you're not locked in. You don't do official signups or anything. So you may plan on it and life gets in the way, or you don't think you can do it, and then all of a sudden life opens up. So either way, you have until the deadline to make and ship to me. So whatever works. And I am currently thinking about what kind of themes I want to do for 2026. So I think we'll still keep doing it because people are still enjoying it as far as I can tell. Alrighty, so let's talk about my my stitching, and I'm going to start with my finish, my stitched finish. This was on the closer side, so I kind of made a concerted effort this week to get it done. This is from Ink Circles. It's called Strawberry Square, and I was very, very inspired by the picture here. Now this was stitched on a linen, and sulky was used, which I did neither of those things. However, the color scheme I was very much inspired by, and this is what I ended up with. Now I ended up using 18 count Timeworn from Mystic Fabrics, and I used, it's a DMC, let me pull it out here because I don't remember the number off the top of my head. It is DMC 4210. So that's what it looks like there. It is a pretty variegated with almost purplish deep reds to lighter, rosy pinky reds. So I did not do max variegation sort of thing. I did do loop start. However, you can see even with the loop start, there's quite a bit of variegation. I did no fussy cutting, but I was aware if, okay, these stitches are going to be the darkest of the dark, and it's next to the lightest of the light, will it look too harsh? And in which case I might have just started from somewhere else, because you know me, I just jump all around. But other than that, I didn't cut anything out. I just kind of went with it. and I'm super excited by how it came out. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I would love to, I don't know the exact size of this. I would love to have a square scrapbook, or maybe like a small sort of thing, and do, because I think there's several of these. These would be really nice, kind of scrapbooked in kind of a smaller sort of book. I'll have to look and see if there's something that's a bit more square, and that would be kind of fun to look through. And if they were finished as a square, then they might be easy to pop in and out of a frame if for at some point if I wanted to display them. But there we go. One more time, the finish. I really enjoyed that one. And I think I do have, I know you're gonna be shocked by this, I have a blue one. I don't know what it's called. I started this one for the Strawberry Moons. Isn't there something in June? I don't know if that's when I started it. I kind of piggybacked on that afterwards, but I think that was kind of along my lines of why I started that one first, because I think I've had the blue one. Oh, I've had that one for ages, but I don't know. No rhyme or reason. Okay, so that one I wanted to show first as my finish. Then I'm going to show you, sometimes I have orders and sometimes I don't of the things I show you. The next three, I decided to kind of put them all together, are pieces you see every week because they're parts of different challenges. So the first one I'm going to show you is Arabesque from Jen Hicks Creates. Now, what's been great, so this is my soccer stitch, I'm going to call it. US, you know, obviously football everywhere else. But I went off of the gridiron grind. I was very inspired by that because we watch Premier League soccer well, unless the team does really bad, but we watch it on a regular basis. The team we root for is Aston Villa. And so I thought, well, how fun, if I'm going to be doing that, I might as well pick a piece that I can stitch while watching it and give me some stitches, like as a challenge sort of thing. Now, at the beginning of the season, they were doing quite abysmally. They've stepped up a little bit. So in all competitions, both European and in England itself, they've won the last 4 games, which the more they win, the more different stitches they earn from different things, because I go by wins, lost, draws, goals, clean sheets, yellow card, all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually a week behind, because they played a couple of games midweek in the Europa League. However, this weekend is a international bye, so there are no games this weekend, which means I can make up last weekend's stitches. And they won and got quite a bit towards my stitch count. I think I have to do 325 stitches for this to make up for that game. This is, again, inspired by the photo. It's ironic that I have these back to back, as you can see. That's the original. Because 90% of the time, the fabric you see is vastly different than what's shown in the model, and the colors of the flosses and things can change and this and that. So here I've got back-to-back ones that are heavily influenced. This is an unknown fabric. It's 18 count. It really didn't matter what it was, in the sense of I just wanted a very light kind of, I went with gray. It's a very, very pale gray because I really wanted to showcase the floss. It's from Stitchy Stuff Co. I think it's called Elven Wine, but any of those shades. She's got a couple really neat shades, or she has had in the past, that are along these lines. So that's what I wanted to do with that one. So this time around for my stitching, I mostly focused, let me roll this a little bit here, on this section here. So I had to finish this piece and then keep working this way down. So it's so pretty. I might try to finish this out because that will get me the very bottom. And if I want to do some of the border, I can, or I can come back and do the letters. But that is the last huge motif. Obviously, we had this one up here as well, kind of that fan looking one. So once this one is done, then everything else will be letters and smaller motifs and some border. So that's exciting. The soccer season does go through May, so I think even if they, I'm not even going to say it, they're going to keep winning. But I think doing some each week with it will get me to a finish. This is a paper pattern. I'm using a working copy, so I have no idea how many stitches are left. I do count my stitches even with paper copies because I highlight them. So every time I do a strand of whatever I'm doing, I highlight it, and as I'm highlighting it, I count, and then I just keep that in my notes in my phone and add it up at the end of the day. So, so that was my soccer stitch. Now, my next one is my whip into shape piece. And whip into shape is, let me write down Andrew, is a challenge that was created by Andrew, the running stitcher, the runner stitcher. And he's training for currently the New York Marathon. This had started earlier in the year, but for right now, we are stitching for the New York Marathon training. So for every mile he runs, it's 10 stitches. And I usually do them as a bulk at the end of the week. So I am caught up through, I think Monday was a rest day. So I'm caught up through Monday, and then I have to do the stitches there. I will get myself caught up to marathon day probably, and then on marathon day, which is November 2nd, it's coming fast. I will try to do stitches on that day. I don't know what's going on that weekend. Hopefully not much, so that I can get some stitches in. But you've seen this one on a regular basis if you've been here. This is Spring Quaker, and it is from Lila's Studio. Now, I have spring and summer going if you are new, and both of them are actually quite far along, but I've put everything, the summer one to the side, as well as my other two like rotational pieces I was doing, because I just want to do this one every week and kind of get it to a finish at this point. It'd be really nice to get a finish on this, and then maybe try to start doing some focus somehow or other on Summer Quaker and get that finished. I really do like autumn and winter, but I'm not starting another one until at least one, if not both of these are finished. So here we are. That's what it looks like. Now this one is, as you could tell from the picture, if you've seen it before, a massive change in colors. And I have been asked for the color conversion, and I will be happy to give it to you. I've just got to write everything down. Some of it is like for like, because obviously I picked like for the motifs. But then I also did some other changes as well with the bunnies and the basket and the flowers and the words. I did quite a bit, because then once you change the greens, some of the other colors didn't go against what they would have with the browns. So I am in the center at this point, working exclusively. And this time around, I decided I finished up these trees, and I've got the grass all the way to the bottom of this house, because then it changes. Let me see for a second. This next house next to this one comes all the way down, so you won't have grass here. And so I got all the way with that across, and then I'm trying to get this house done. There is some stitching there that you can't see because it's kind of white, so it's blending in. And I've got the roof started on the house next to it here. So once that's done, then on the other side we have house, tree, house, house. So I've come to the realization, unfortunately, I don't think this will get done before the end of the marathon. I think there's too many stitches. I don't know for sure. I'm using a working copy, so I don't know. But it just feels like it is, because I did whatever the 300 stitches that needed to get done this time. And I mean, literally, it was half the house finishing the trees and the grass. So you can clearly see at this point that there's quite a bit left to stitch. So I will need to figure out, we'll have to come up with something for me to continue on this each week, challenge-wise, once Andrew runs the marathon, because it would be really nice to just keep kind of plugging away on this one. 18 count rose hips from Under the Sea Fabrics. I also use this one for I Spy. If you're new to I Spy, it is a challenge that I've created that it's 10 prompts. I am a very mellow kind of challenge person. So you do one prompt, you do 10 prompts, whatever you want. You call them however you want, you decide. It's really just kind of a fun little game to play if you want in regards to your stitches. And so the prompt that this one filled was a pattern with at least 10 motifs. Well, this fit the bill easily. I don't even know. It's probably more than 20 motifs, to be honest with you. So that's what that one is. And yes, you'll just continue to see that at least through October, through November 2nd, that whatever that following video is. And then we'll see from there. We'll see if two things might happen. One, I'm going to be so motivated because at that point, the end is really in sight. Or two, I will be burnt out. Now, that is not my original whip into shape piece, as many of you would know. If you're new, it's funny because, I always want to make sure you're not in the dark if you're a new viewer. But also, I don't want to bore my regular viewers. I finished a piece, a long-standing piece first. And then in August, I picked this one up right when the Sydney Marathon, I went from that marathon to this one, kind of dates as my spring Quaker kind of stitch. So we'll see if at that point, weekly stitching, I'll have been burnt out on it or not. I'm hoping for the latter. I'm hoping I'm so inspired that I want to keep going with it. But I do like having those challenges because those numbers are something to aim for, which I find motivating. I know for some people that's probably stressful, but for me, it's kind of a good motivator. And then I have my fun challenge book. So I don't know if I have much colored in. You know what? I'll show you September. September is done, but it's been fun having Andrew run all through. So I do enjoy doing those kinds of things and having my book colored in and pretty. You can see I like to do different things. I don't think I have any stickers yet for October. Washi tape is fun. I like to do that. So it just makes it fun for me as a fun game. We are having the garbage truck is right now outside, so hopefully it's not super loud for you. We'll just keep going because they shouldn't be here long. All right, my next piece then, so we had the soccer stitch, the whip into shape, and our last, it's all sports. Our last kind of weekly stitch is Gridiron Grind, and that is, there it is, Witch's Hollow. And this is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I am following Clemson University and their football team, and they did well this weekend. Sorry, UNC fans, but it was enjoyable to be a Clemson fan for a change because they've had a rough season. So I picked this one because it's got orange and purples, and Clemson is orange and purple. And here we are. Now I stitched, wait a minute, let me see. I think I'm actually caught up because before this, there wasn't a lot to stitch. Let me just look in my book here real quick. It would have been over the weekend because I'm almost sure I might have stitched on Saturday on this one. Yeah, I did. So I took care of it as I was watching the game. Well, I watched bits and pieces. We were in and out on Saturday. But so I am now caught up, but I don't remember how many stitches I had to do for this. Actually, I'm going to double check. I don't know. I might have more, which is fine. That just means more stitching. But I did quite a bit over the weekend. And this is 18 count Genuine Gillian by Those Missing Stitches. It's funny, with the crossover between months, I have to change over things. And so sometimes then I'm a little behind on some of my challenges. I am so close. So this is full coverage, right? And it'll still be full coverage. Let me see so I can see for my own purposes. There's a house here. It'll be full coverage. You've got this, and then you've got the house here. But then you start to see some of the orange. So any orange that you saw in the picture, the fabric is going to show through. And right here is the start of that. These are the branches of kind of like a spindly tree without its leaves, a barren tree. And so that was so exciting to me because obviously the hardest, I don't want to say the hardest, but the most intense part is all of this full coverage stitching. So once I feel like then, it'll be great because you'll come to a section, you'll finish it. Well, I don't ever finish something without moving to something else. I like to jump around, but you know what I mean? Like, there's distinct sections. So that will make it feel like it's going faster. I mean, let's be honest. 1, not going to be done before this Halloween. 2, probably won't even be done by next Halloween unless I find a challenge for it. But that's okay. I enjoy stitching it. I did get the digital piece so I could put this one in Pattern Keeper, and it did go in, so I was able to use it that way. So we'll see. Now that, you know, the season obviously for college football goes shorter, and I mean, given the way Clemson's playing, I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs, never mind all the way to the final game. So that may end in November. I don't know if there's any games in December. That might be the start of the playoffs. So, you know, we'll see. But at least some stitching is better than none. I'll have gotten at least 1,000, if not more than that, by the time the challenge is over. All right, real quick, let's jump into my full finish. It's a very simple one. I have several other pieces that are in progress of full finishing, but I just didn't get to them because there's just different stuff going on right now that I just didn't get to the finishing table. But there we go. This was a set of 3. I've only done one, and this was a restart that I did this year and made it monochromatic. It is charted, I think it's Little Robin Designs. It's charted to be orange, fading into black kind of thing. And that wasn't working the first time I stitched it, because I loved this fabric. So I just restitched it all in black. And if you're new, I'm a very simple finisher. I like the eye to go right to my stitching and stay with the stitching. So that's just me. And I'm a very minimalist, kind of plain, simple person to begin with anyway. If you were to come to my house, you wouldn't see a lot of decoration, because that's just the way me and myself and Mo are. And that just kind of translates into my crafting as well. So if you want to see the pretty kind of finishes, yeah, this isn't the place. But there are so many awesomely talented people that do that, you know, there's plenty to find. But anyway, so this is done. I'll get to hang that one up now because we are in October, and I'm hoping to get some more done this week. It's going to be a busy week coming up, so we'll see what happens with that. You know, I'm going to put it here. You're not going to be able to see it, but I'm just going to put it, you know, I'm just going to lean it up against here. I, in fact, just put the ribbon on this morning, so I don't want to take chances that it might come undone at all. It should be fine, but alrighty, next. So this month is my birthday month. My birthday is October 23rd, so we're getting there, but I celebrate the entire month. And so for however number of years we've been doing this now, we have a hashtag pumpkin birthday Sal, stitch along, start along, however you want to do it. Again, real mellow here. And a couple years ago, I started in October. So let's see, it's probably up here because it'd be older. Autumn Still Life. And this is from Owl Forest Embroidery. So let me show you that. That's what it looks like. Now I'm not using the Owl Forest flosses. I am doing some DMC conversions, some that there were their suggestions, some that didn't work for me that are mine. And then I'm throwing in just random variegated flosses here and there. And here I am so far. Now I have been stitching on this one 100 stitches a day. I figured, okay, for October, let's try to kind of focus on something. And since this one's a couple years old now, and it didn't get a lot of work this year, I figured maybe this would be a good one. I'm getting to the point where a lot of these pieces, I'm going to have to change some of the colors. So I decided right now what I'm doing partially is doing some of the borders. So there's some fill-in that has to be done, but I found a way to do the border that goes kind of fast, and then the fill-in will be easy. I did some, but then I did this section here because I am one of those people that really likes to do border, but then do a piece and go back and forth to make sure everything continues to line up. So I am not 100% sure. There'll be a larger flower here that I will continue to do, but then after that, I have pieces that need to be chosen for colors. So I don't know how that'll work. And quite a few of the things down here do as well. So we'll see. I am also, there is an inner border that there's 2 parts to it. So I'm kind of doing each one off of each other. And that's how I'm doing that. Because again, there'll be some color changes in here and things I want to do with that. So it's going to come along a little slow. I've kind of struggled each day deciding, okay, where do I want to stitch and how do I want to do this? Because I don't have all the colors chosen yet. This is 18 Count Ocean Air by Fox and Rabbit. So that's where it is. And we'll see if I'm getting really stuck and not sure what color schemes I want to do, then I figure this one, this week, I think it got, since I've picked it up, and it didn't get 100 every day, but it's gotten at least 600 stitches. So that's something, right? That's progress. And, you know, as it goes, if it's a little slow, that's all right. And if I decide to change to something else, 100 stitches a day, that's okay too. It's not like I don't have the projects. Now this next one, I was inspired. So Melanie from Uplift, I am not writing down anybody here. I've been talking about people. Melanie from Uplift Stitches is been stitching this one. And then Karen, the Stitching Owl, recently started this one. So I said, well, I have had this one as a start. When did I start this? I started it right after the spring mingle, I think. And it is the ruby-throated hummingbirds. And I said, well, let's pull it out because I'm inspired by Melanie and Karen to get it some stitches. So this is from Boomerang Stitches. It was an exclusive at the spring mingle, I believe. And I just love it. I might have gotten it and started it that weekend because I enjoyed it so much. And I am at, I believe, 50%-ish. Maybe 52. I don't know exactly. But here I am. And except for just a tiny little bit here in his eye, this hummingbird is done. This is 18 Count Patience from Millennial Fabrics. And I have, except for, I think there's one more. Yeah, there's one more ladybug right here. Other than that, I think, and one little section in the middle of this, like 3 stitches, this side of flowers is completely done. And this is almost done. So these are pretty much almost done. I probably will start going down this way. And then I can work my way with the final hummingbird. I'm really liking it on this blue fabric. I think the colors really pop on it, so it looks nice. But I enjoy it. This is in Pattern Keeper, so it's convenient that way. And I really like the blockiness of it. Now, I know Karen, she recently put out a video. I know there's a stitch along that she's doing this. Boomerang, birds, butterflies. I don't know. I'll link Karen. And if you want to check out her video, she has the specifics about the stitch along. So that's just an added plus too. So yeah, I'm pleased to at least be halfway through it. Melanie and Michael, who are Uplift Stitches, put out a video this past week, and so you can see Melanie's. It's amazing, and plus it was just a fun video to watch. So if you have not seen it, I would recommend it. I'll link them down below and watch till the very end. It's cute. Okay, next. This is one of my starts for the week. If you watched my pumpkin birthday extra video, one of the pieces I showed you was the witch, which is part of the Snowman series, number 11 from Cottage Garden Samplings. This is a 2023 series. So I have not got all of them. I don't plan on stitching all of them. There's probably maybe like 3 or 4 of the snowmen, I don't remember exactly, that I was really drawn to, and this was one of them. Now, I debated on fabric, and I suspect many of you are not going to like the fabric I chose, but that's okay. It works for me. And I could easily see doing something like a Darling David from those missing stitches or something like that with this one. But I just decided to go. So the color scheme is not different for me, but different when you look at the actual original. Now, this is just a scrap of blue. I went through my scraps. I was just feeling that I wanted something a little different. And so I pulled, it's hard to see a little bit now, but I'm not worried. Once you put all of the other stuff around it, I think it'll be fine. I just pulled this blue. I thought it was fun. I think the oranges will look nice. I did change, and when we get to it, one of the pumpkin colors is 434. Which I am not a fan of generally, so I usually do change that when they're charted like that. But I got almost the entire bit of the hat. There's one little bit that I have to do, and then once that's done, then we kind of do the shadow underneath, which will be the darker color. The white is actually completely covered, so you could like with other things around it. So you could do this on a lighter fabric. I think you'd be fine. I would have popped on its own on this, I think, anyway. So a little bit different, but I think in the end I'll like it. And honestly, I just like to shake things up a little bit and do different color schemes than normal. I did get my, I worked on this a couple days to get my at least minimum, I think I got 250 at least, but I wanted the minimum 200 because Sandy from Stitching with Sandy is always in my head saying, let's get that 200 for a start. I'll link Sandy down below because she's so much fun to watch. But Sandy's always in my head when I'm starting something that, let's try to get it. Let's try to get those 200 stitches, Laura. So, and then the thing is, I'm starting so many things. I have been trying to give it another week as I start a piece. However, there's so many things coming down as starts and so on and so forth that, you know what? It is the way it is. This next piece is actually the second week after I started something. So if you were here last week, you know I started a piece from Cross Stitch in the Forest. I started it with Karen, Melanie, and then Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner. We all like to stitch a lot of the same pieces, and we like to enable each other and stitch them together. So we are stitching from this book. Oh, you don't want to see the pattern. There we go. Autumn Drizzle. And that's what it'll look like. Now, you're not going to be able to tell much of a change, but up here, this mountain and then some of the other parts of the mountains, and then down here as well is 434 and 436. Now I think down here in the ground I will keep that 434 436 because there I think the brown works. I didn't really want the brown in my mountains, so I did change it, but I didn't change it like drastically. It's not a bright color. I was originally thinking I might do a color conversion of all of them and brighten them up, but I ended up not doing that. And I don't have a note in the bag here, but it's in my other section if you wanted to know what they are. It's probably like 3777 and something else like that. So you can see it's right there and then it's right there. I wanted something that would kind of match with the other colors, but not be necessarily brown. So it's just a shade away from that, a little shade redder. And I really like how it looks with the other colors. So one night I worked on this instead of my full coverage piece. You're not going to see my full coverage piece this week because there was a couple nights where I did other things when I would normally stitch that. You'll see it next week. This is 18 count. I believe it was from a scrap. I believe it's Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. I just wanted something that was kind of neutrally naturey. I like to do either a light green or a light blue for a lot of the nature stuff. So that's where we are. And this probably will potentially get put away. I mean, it's a blocky piece, so it's pretty enjoyable for me to stitch. It's not like 1,000 stitch block, but different blocks, then it's time to change. So I do enjoy that kind of stitching, more so than say confetti stitching. So maybe if I'm in the mood, I might pull it out again. While we're here, let me show you my piece that I pulled out to display this week. This is a Satsuma Street. I think it's just called Halloween Cat, if I remember correctly. And I stitched this a few years ago. Really, really like it. And I love how I finished. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. There's actually, oh, there we go. I used metallic spray, splatter spray. And you basically, I do it outside because I make a mess. And of course the wind always blows it in the direction. But you basically just spray it on your cardstock and then you let it dry. And then you get that lovely kind of fun look. So I just thought that was, I wanted to play off some of the colors and scheme in this piece. And otherwise I kept it pretty simple with some brads and just different colors of cardstock. So that's my Halloween cat. And that has been out and about. I think I had that on the shelf actually behind me when I was filming the unboxing, if I remember. So that is my piece for this week. All right, now this next piece has nothing to do with this time of year. Honestly, I just felt like stitching it. And it is Sampler of the Sea from Carriage House Samplings. I find this one really enjoyable and relaxing to stitch, to be honest with you. Actually, I could use that stitch again. One of the prompts this month is something that's a treat to stitch. And I do find this one quite, even though it's not monochromatic, that's some of my favorite kind of stitching. But there's something about it that just is easy. And so I just felt like pulling it out. I was able to actually stitch on it at night, which a lot of patterns I can't. But again, because it's kind of an easy pattern, I do. I'm looking at the back here. I've seen other people stitch this one. I love this one. I don't have it yet, but at some point you might see me stitch that one. That's the garden sampler. So, but anyway, that's this one right now. We're in that. And I went with this color fabric because I wanted kind of a sandy vibe. So it's similar to the model. It's a little, what's shown here is a bit more mottled. I really like this one. This one is 18 count Captivating Cossette from Lynn, Those Missing Stitches. And Lynn has a new video out this week. And so you get to see her gorgeous stitching, but super exciting. It is the first video of a quarter, which means Lynn has 4 new fabrics to show you. Plus we see a sneak peek in the video of something coming out in January. So I'm going to link her down below if you want to see. She has an Etsy shop. Her fabric is phenomenal. I have some of the new ones on order, so when they come in, I will be showing you. So this one was, I do like this one. It's kind of got that sandy-ish vibe to it. It's a little bit of a brownish kind of vibe too, which I thought was enjoyable. And I'm using some of the called for, but I am also changing it. So this one will be another one once I'm finished and I finish the notes. If you'd like to know the changes, I would be happy to share them with you. I know, for example, the coral is I believe that's a different color. I know the moon is a different color. The anchor, I believe, is a different color. When we get to the lighthouse, that's different. So there's quite a bit on the actual little motifs that you see where you'll see some color changes. The 2 colors, it's a deep green and a deep blue. For the letters I did keep. And I just was working along this way right here. I have the letter G is finished as is. There's a seagull that goes right here. And I just wasn't in the mood for that. So I went over here and did some of this instead. But that was fun, that ice cream cone. Looks good, actually. So yeah, that's Sampler of the Sea. I could bring this out again at some point for, you know, there's a couple things I could do with this. I could do it as a treat to stitch, although there's lots of things that are a treat. But one of the prompts is wavy line, and both the borders in between and the water are wavy lines. Maybe that's what I'll use if I can't find something else with a wavy line. So you might see that one again. I'm not going to count it post-stitching. I'll just bring it out again if I want. Alrighty, next. This piece here, I'm stitching with a bunch of friends. Some have finished it. Not me. I'm going to just write down. This is Butterflies 2 from Durene Jones. There's 3 different ones that you buy separately. Different color schemes. And I love purple. And the pinks and the purples and the blues and the green. I just thought it was just a fantastic fun one. I own all 3. Durene Jones has quite often 50% off sales on her items. There's also a dragonfly that's in a round circle. I own that one too. So you might see more of these stitching because when she has a sale, I just kind of say, ooh, I'm just going to pick up a bunch. I can't remember how many stitches total this is. This one did go into Pattern Keeper. I'm not sure all of them. I don't think she designs to necessarily go in, but I lucked out and this one did go in. I started this with several different friends. And 2 have finished. So the 2 Karen friends, Karen D, who is the Twitchy Stitcher, she finished this one, and not this most recent video. I have her down, yep. Which just came out, so fun, and she's got cute finishes on that one. But the video before that, she shows this one fully finished, how she stitched it. It's different than me. And then Karen, the Stitching Owl, just showed hers, watch her most recent video, and she did something different than Karen and myself. And then Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner is also stitching this with me. us, and I believe Mary is doing it similar to me. And then Amy. Hi, Amy. We're back. We get Amy videos again. She put out a video this week, and I believe Amy is also stitching this. So lots of fun people to watch, but a couple finishes, which is really neat. And it's really kind of fun how different people have made it their own. I was able to get almost 500 stitches. I used this on a Stitchy Zoom, so it was really easy to do, especially because it is Pattern Keeper. And I jumped all over. I know I was filling in some of the flower, and I did some of the, every time I do this, I do a little bit of the black, and then I go back and forth. I start stitching the black, you know this, and then I say to myself, oh, I'm going to do all the outline, and then I get bored and I go to something. This is how I do all of my full coverage. This is 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1, and it is a full cross. So I don't know how far I am. That's probably slightly bigger than halfway or longer than, so I don't know, maybe here. There's a lot to do yet. I think I'm at around 30. Oh, I don't even know if I've gotten to 30% yet. There's a lot of stitching left to do on that. But I like that one for Zoom stitching quite a bit because, you know, it is in Pattern Keeper and you just pick a color and then kind of go with it. So that's what I generally keep that one for Zoom stitching. Or if I'm kind of in a mood where I just want to flow with something, you might see it then too. Okay, this next one, again, we've got pumpkins, so we definitely wanted to pull this one out. I don't necessarily think this one was started in October. I think it was started in September of last year, to be honest with you. I started this with Mary, and Mary finished hers. I want to say, was it about May, Mary? I think. And I'm still plugging along on it. It is paper, so I don't know what percentage it is or anything, but I feel like I've gotten along. I'm chugging along on it. I have 3 of the corners reached, so that's something. This is 18 count Dragon's Lair from Bestitchme, and I'm using a variegated floss from Stitchy Stuff Co. I want to say Fire Lily, but I don't know off the top of my head. Let me see if I can see yes, Fire Lily. And again, there is some variegation that you'll see, but I'm not purposely doing max variegation. So if you come on up with the pumpkins, you can kind of see some variegation. I didn't want to worry about all the max variegation, so I'm just kind of enjoying it the way I'm going. And I'm just plugging along here. I believe I do have a mistake over here. I have to pull that out because I would have gone farther with the border. Again, you can see border, then I do inside, border, inside, and I kind of work my way that way. And sometimes when the border gets close enough, then I finish it off. I did quite a bit over here on this side just to kind of get that finished. This is the biggest element and motif, so I'm super excited to get that one finished. The second largest is the basket of apples. So right here you have a box and the word autumn, which will go faster. And then I've started the leaf motif, which is also a good size. But other than that, then it's just small little things. You can see I've got 1 mushroom in. There's a few more mushrooms and things like that. So I feel like, you know, not going to be done this year, but it could easily be done next year. And I do want to do all of them at some point. But, you know, I'm not going to start another one till this one's finished. I know Mary wants to do them all as well, and she has the winter one, I believe, ready to go. So, I don't know. Maybe come winter, Mary, if you start it, you might be able to twist my arm to get a start, too. All right, I have 2 more pieces to show you. One is a work in progress, and one is a new start. All right, so next we have Blackbird Sampler. And I started this one in September, and this one could be I could put under a treat to stitch because I really do enjoy this one. I find the color scheme I chose very relaxing. I'm stitching it monochromatically, which you know is one of my favorite things to do. I find that really relaxing. It's funny because it's called Blackbird Sampler. However, when I first saw this, I just registered tones of blue. And so in my mind, it's Bluebird Sampler. I mean, in fact, the frame has blues in it because they picked up kind of the blues. It's done with a silk, and really there are some heavy tints of kind of like it's probably a bluish gray, but to my eye it looks blue. And so that's what I went with, is I ran with the whole blue color scheme, and I so enjoy it. So that's what it looks like. Let's see, I'll do it like this. And I've told you this before. Each time I pick it up, I do at least, I think I only did one, but I do at least one of these border pieces. This border will continue down this way. So I definitely want to make sure I don't leave myself stuck doing that, but I also don't want to just do that. So I worked on that, and then this piece here has a lot of stitching to it. So I started that and worked on that. There are, no, okay. Some of these pieces that I do have kind of like throwaway, like little stitches that sometimes I don't do, but it doesn't look like this one does. So you won't see. So a lot of times I don't stitch those, I skip them, but that's not going to be an issue. But this flower here, I think the lighting was a little off because this has been started for a while. But as you can see, that one has a lot more counting than this. So I decided to start this one. And I got a chunk of it done, but needs to go some more. This is 18 count Celestial Tide from To Die For Fabrics, and I'm using a Threadworks. Let me see if I can grab one of them out so I can show you what it is. It's not variegated like this silk was, and I'm okay with that because my fabric has kind of a little bit of kind of motion to it in the different colors, and I love doing tone on tone kind of thing. Again, my eyes just love that. So it's 1024 from Threadworks. So as you can see, it's not a highly variegated one. It's not variegated really at all. Maybe if you look, there's a slight tint to it. That might be some other color. However, I'm just loving it. I'm loving this color. And to me, the contrast between this kind of blue and that blue is just perfect for me. And there are 2 different alphabets and numbers. And sometimes when things are highly variegated, my eyes have trouble seeing things like that. It almost hurts my eyes. So I kind of like that, the fact that this isn't heavily variegated, the floss. But again, you might see this one come out because it is a treat to stitch. And, you know, kind of that kind of color scheme is kind of darkish, more like, you know, Halloween-ish. So I can kind of justify it, but it doesn't really matter because for me, I stitch whatever I want, whenever I want. It doesn't really, hence why you saw a sampler of the sea, a summer piece this week. All right, my last piece, I have to go to a different, oh, no, you don't want to see Megan on vacation. Here we go. There we go. This isn't in the right folder yet, but I started with Sandy from Stitching with Sandy. This weekend we started, it's called Halloween Party, and it's from Nathnalu Designs. And I just thought it was super cute. I mean, the ghost, the skeleton, they're all cute. I mean, it's like a cute pumpkin and the cat and, you know, the Polaroid sort of look, you know. So, and I know Doris, Glitter Dove Fairy on Instagram, she is also stitching it because I think she was joking about a hashtag Polaroid Sal. Now Nathnalu, I really like how she chooses colors for fabrics, and so I do find her very inspiring, and I liked that kind of deep color. Her gray is a little bit deeper than what I've got, but I liked it quite a bit. So I don't have a lot, but I did hit my minimum 200 with it. I wasn't sure what my next step was going to be, so I just stopped here. This is 18 count. It's a mystery from Bestitchme, and I mean, the lighter colors will just pop. Now, what's so interesting to me, and I asked Sandy, the lighter color is actually 712, which is kind of a creamish color. And then we have more of a beige color there, if you can see. The ghost and inside the skeleton are that 712. So I was debating, I asked Sandy, had she done any of that? Because do I do it in the 712 or do I pick something like a 3865? And Sandy had, she showed the skeleton and she did the 712 and it looked fantastic. Because I have to decide things for myself sometime, I might pull out a 3865 and do a test between that and 712 and see. But hers did look great. So if you are stitching this, you might be surprised to see it. Doris, what did you do? I'd love to know what you did for, if you kept it those colors. But it's so cute. It went right into Pattern Keeper, so it will be easy to stitch. And I'll get some more time this month for it. It has a adorable pumpkin, so it needs to be stitched for the pumpkin birthday sale. So that's where it is at the moment. Not a lot to see, but you know, it's a fun little start. And like I said, I don't mind the border and the outline being that, but even here we have, you know, the cobweb. So I wanted to make the decision on these colors before I actually stitched any of that other stuff. And I suppose I could have done the outline of the skeleton, but you know, decisions sometimes. So if you stitched it, did you change it or are stitching it? What are you doing? I'd love to know. Alrighty, so that is that is it for the stitching this week. Those are my stitches. What are my plans? So this week is Yasmin start week. So you're not going to see, because I generally don't show you my Thursday stitching, so you'll see that next week. But Yasmin start. Yasmin's Made with Love. You can find her on both Etsy, I believe, but she has her own standalone website. And generally when places have their own standalone, I do try to give them the traffic there so that they gain more traction through search engines as well as buy through there, because then they don't have the extra Etsy fees. So I go to her site itself, and I had a few choices, but we are starting Yasmin, and Mary and I are starting the Bat. And I do this it's not in here yet. You'll just have to trust me. Karen's going to have a different start. Karen Stitching Owl, and then Karen Twitchy Stitcher, and Melanie are going to have starts that are the same, but you can watch everybody's videos to see what they're going to start. So, or what they're starting. So you just have to, jump back with all of us. And I know Melanie and Karen Twitchy Stitcher tell in their plans what their piece is. So if you watch the videos this week, you'll know what's going on. But if you want to join us, I know Mandy from Mandy Parker. Oh, Mandy just put out a video too. Is also going to do some stitching on a Yasmin piece. So I'll link Mandy if you want to watch her video. And yeah, so come and join us if you'd like. We'd love to highlight all of Yasmin's beautiful stitches. I wasn't sure what to start because there's several that I want to start. But this one is kind of that Halloweenish vibe, and so I decided to go with it. I am going to use Flosh, I believe, and I think it's I don't know what the fabric is, so I'm not going to say. You'll have to find out and wait. Alrighty, so that is that, and Pumpkin Birthday Stitch Along. I still have several pieces I'd like to stitch. When I show you shopping in a minute, I bought a pumpkin piece. I do have fabric, I believe, set for Pumpkin House, so you might see that this week. Or Glenda's Garden. One of these, maybe Glenda's Garden might be a fun birthday start. I do have fabric chosen for both of these. And then some smaller digital and different digital stuff as well. So who knows what you might see coming up. Like I said, I've already looked into November. I have two definite November starts. And then there's a couple more smalls that I would like. And there was a Thanksgiving piece in the fall issue of Just Cross Stitch. And I think I'd like to do the bottom part. That's clearly the Thanksgiving part. So that might be a start. We'll see. Lots of fun, different stitches. So many talented designers out there that, I just want to stitch it all. So that's kind of the plans. Yasmin's a definite plan. Pumpkins are a definite plan. And then everything else is up in the air. All right, so for mail, we got some more trading cards in the mail, and I like to at least let you know if I've received it. So if you've watched all my videos, once the trading cards have started to come in, and you have not heard your name, that means I have not received it. And so, you know, it just could be the mail could have it just stuck somewhere right now. And we'll just hope that they get it to me. So I just want to make sure there's no identifying addresses or anything. Teresa, yours came. So it's all here nice and safely. Lisa, I got yours. Karen B, I got yours. Kim R, I got yours. Heather, it made it. You did a great job. That's your first one, right? So you did a great job. And then Melissa, we got yours as well. So yay! That's what's come in the mail since last week. So like I said, you still have a little bit of time. If you have time this weekend and you want to stitch one up, just go and watch the most recent video that talked about theme and everything else. And it's only 2.5 by 3.5. So depending on what you stitch, you might be able to do it if you want to join along. And then once they all come in, my favorite thing to do is the show and tells. All right, shopping. So I actually wasn't going to have any shopping. And then Love Poppet. There was a couple of her market pieces that I adored, but I wanted to wait till they came out in digital and have the digital version of them, because I have her octopus, which went right into Pattern Keeper. So I thought, oh, that would be fun to do. And so I picked up 2 pieces because she just released her some of the market stuff that I was really waiting for. I don't remember. This might be called Boo. I don't remember the names, but if you go to Love Poppet, you know, it'll be under the shopping section. I don't remember the exact website, but I'll link it down below. And I go to the PDF section, and if you do like the most recent releases, it pops up. So there's this one right here, and I'm thinking I mean, they're cute spiders, but I don't know if I need all of that. I might just do the ghost and the pumpkin with a little bit of the flowers and then see if I want the rest. So cute. So I got that one, and then the other one I got, oh gosh, as soon as I saw this, I thought, oh, I want to stitch him. Look at this skating Santa. Is he not adorable? I am not sure if I will do, it's beautiful as a whole, but him is the main focus. So I might do him, and maybe this, because this little line is kind of like the skating line, and maybe that little tree. I don't know, or maybe I put the tree over here and a snowflake there. Like, I don't know. But isn't it so cute? So I don't know what he's called. But again, if you go to the recent releases of the digital for Love Poppet, they're there. And if you'd like to stitch either one of those with me, let me know. I was so excited. I've been periodically checking because I didn't know when she'd put them out. And I know she's been busy with, I don't know, retreats and shows and things like that. So I just went and they were there, and I was just so excited I had to get those 2. And there's some other really cute ones that are also out there, but I stopped myself at the 2. So that's it. That's all I have for shopping. Alrighty. So if that's all you're here for stitching wise, and you don't want to hear about the life stuff or anything like that, then I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. All right. So this week has been pseudo busy, pseudo not kind of thing. You know, it's kind of a little bit of everything. Last weekend, Mo and I actually finally went out to dinner to celebrate our anniversary. Our anniversary was in September. However, we don't really, I mean, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it is, we don't necessarily say, oh, it has to be celebrated on the date. It's just whenever it happens, you know, kind of thing. So we were going to go down. We went down to Dewey on Saturday, and Dewey Beach in Delaware. If you don't know, I live in Delaware, down by the beaches. I'd forgotten about this, but they have this phenomenal, fantastic kind of fundraiser for breast cancer awareness on a day in October. Well, Saturday happened to be it, which was fantastic, but there was no way we'd be able to find parking at the restaurant we wanted to go to and sit outside and everything. It was a fantastic atmosphere, and I'm sure they raised tons of money because there was people everywhere, everybody wearing pink. It was great. So we kind of pivoted, went back to Rehoboth, sat at the beach for a little bit, and then on Sunday we went back down to Dewey, and it was much quieter. We were able to sit outside at the restaurant we wanted to, and it was quiet enough that we kind of sat, chilled for a couple hours, and that's not us. We're usually like in and out of restaurants, and enjoyed the day, and it was really nice. Really, really had a good time. And so it was a nice little celebration for our anniversary. And then we went out with dinner with friends this week who were sometimes here in Rehoboth, sometimes elsewhere. So that was nice to see them because we hadn't seen them for a couple months. And then, just little stuff out and about and doing this, that, and the other. I have not been really reading. I haven't been listening. I have a book that I did get from the library for book club, but I just didn't get it. Came just like 3 days before book club, and I just was like, there's no way I'm going to get it read without just speeding through it. So I still have it, and we'll see. I might try to give it a read. If I'm not loving it, I'll just put it aside. I don't remember what it's called. I'll let you know if I like it. And then Mo and I finished Happy Valley. I've talked about that before. Happy Valley is dark, so don't use if you're thinking, ooh, that sounds like a really cheerful show. It's not, but it's phenomenal, but very dark, very gritty. It's a British show, takes place in England. It's on BritBox. If you like that gritty kind of thing, it's phenomenal. Acting is great all the way. The last episode, near the end, the scene was intense but very, very good. So highly recommend if you like that kind of show. That's the second time Mo's seen it. He said as soon as he found out I was going to be watching it, he'd watch it again with me because he enjoyed it that much. So now we're kind of stuck. We have a list, but I don't know if anybody has seen. On our list, we are going to watch Department Q, Ballard. We want to wait until Slow Horses is completely dropped, right? Because I don't want to watch an episode and then wait a week kind of thing. We don't necessarily watch every night together a show, but we do on a regular basis, especially when it's good. And Slow Horses is a favorite one of ours. Gilded Age. So Gilded Age, Department Q, and Ballard are the three probably up because they're ready to go. And then next week, I think, or the end of this month, Diplomat comes back. But again, I want to make sure that's completely out. So we have a couple that are coming. But if you watched any of those other three and you could recommend one of them as our next watch together, let me know. I love to get recommendations. And I think that's it. We have a busy next couple weekends, to be honest with you. And there's a surprise for next week, but I'm not going to tell you now. You're going to have to wait to come back till next week. So on my weekends, I'm not sure how much stitching I'll get done. Next week could be a light stitching week as well. Hopefully, maybe I'll get some finishes done. So if my stitching is light, at least I'll have finishes to show you. And next weekend will definitely be a light stitching weekend. So, but after that, September was a really good stitching month. I think October is going to be a really light in comparison stitching month. But that's about it. That's all I have. So I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. There is some strange something. They're calling it a nor'easter that might be, I don't even know if it's hitting us Saturday or Sunday or when it is. And with what, I don't know. Like they start talking about these things, but if you're in the way of whatever this is, and it is something that becomes stronger than they say, please stay safe. We'll just see, I guess, right? I have no idea what's going to happen with that, but just keep an eye to the sky, right? And be careful if you go out in any sort of storm. But anyway, as always, please remember that you matter, my friends. You are important just as you are, and you are beautiful as you are. So please, please always remember that. And until next time, happy stitching.